On this day in our services, we are recognizing and focusing and blessing our children and our educators. We certainly have learned much over the last year and a half. We've become very aware how critical is not only the sharing of facts and information, but how important the social environment is for learning. The social environment is critical to help people be able to develop their full potential. We do need those shards of information that we bring together in vessels that hold various disciplines we need to learn. But we've become very aware that we truly are social beings. And we need to be in community, in different communities, in order to reach our God-given potential in life. With that in mind for this Sunday, this epistle, this letter, and specifically this section of this epistle, talks about life lessons. In fact, in some versions of the Bible, this section is headed with the words, rules for new living. So there's a strong educational theme behind these verses that we read this morning. And as I read them over, I started to see something come together. I was wondering, is it possible that we have here a new 10 commandments? Especially with our new understanding and awareness how important the relational part of life is, with how important our communities are. Do we have in these verses these new rules for new living? Are they, in a sense, rules for how we need to be so aware and speak to the relational side of our lives? So I looked at these verses and I thought, can I come up with 10? Are there 10 here? And you can do that, but I felt like I was splitting up some of the way the writing flowed through this section. And really, I could only come up with 6 new rules, 6 lessons or commandments. But then I was thinking of the 10 commandments we find in the Hebrew Bible, and you may remember that 4 of the commandments speak specifically to our relationship with God, and there are 6 that speak to our relating to other people. So I do see a relationship. We have here 6 ways, 6 lessons that help us be more aware of the relational side of life, of how we help to put people at that place so they can reach their full potential in God. So here we go. Think of these 6 new lessons that we all need to be aware of as we look out over this new school year and program year in the life of the church. We need to speak the truth and not be addicted to falsehood. We need to not let anger linger and fester in our life. We are not to steal. We are to speak words that build up other people and do not tear them down. We are to place ourselves in God's presence, that place where we receive mercy and grace. And we are to be forgiving and tender-hearted, and to turn away from malice in our lives. 6 new lessons. 6 lessons that allow us to live into what we have learned, how important the social environment is, how we truly are relational people. As I look at our list here that we find in this epistle in the New Testament, and I think about that list of 6 ways we are to relate to others in the Hebrew Bible, there is one carryover. Now, the Hebrew Bible seems to be very fact-oriented, much like we have learned that we too were maybe thinking education was only fact and knowledge transporting and transferring. But there is this one carryover. And maybe you caught it: do not steal. And I think when we relate to this one carryover, and we think about it in the light of these new 6 lessons, I believe it helps us to summarize. It helps us to bring organization to what can seem to be a lot of information. See, I believe these new lessons are encouraging us not to steal. Not to steal another person's integrity. Not to steal from another person's self-esteem and self-worth. Not to steal from another person their opportunity to truly grow. Not to steal the God-given potential that each of us has in our lives. And I think this relates to even our apathy sometimes. I think we are stealing from others through our apathy and our inaction. We need to live lives that build others up. We need to live lives that recognize that the social environment, our relationships, are what place people in the position to truly reach their God-given potential. So with that summary thought, and with our focus and emphasis on this day in our worship services, maybe there is a lesson that you need to take with you. Maybe there is a way you need to be giving to others and placing them in the position for maximum growth. Which one of these lessons maybe do you need to hold on to? Is it truth-telling? Possibly it's not allowing that anger to fester and linger, impact how you relate to others. Maybe it's placing yourself in the position with the presence of the living God so you're experiencing mercy and grace that can flow through you. Maybe it's only speaking words that build up in the presence of people, and even when you're not in their presence, when nobody is looking, so to speak. And maybe you need to be more forgiving and tender-hearted and move away from language and from thoughts that show a sense of malice and disregard for another and their integrity and their reputation and their self-esteem. In the book of Genesis, when we are reading about Abraham, and then we read it again in Psalm 67, we are told that we are blessed to be a blessing. All of us on this day do need to know you are blessed. We all receive a blessing on this day, but we are blessed so that we can be a blessing to others. To God be the glory. Amen.